Hey guys, it's Carrie and Zach here from the Coffee and KO's crew. And Zach, I got a question for you. You ever wake up on a Sunday morning and think, man, I'll cook the family some breakfast this morning?
Yeah, time or two.
Have you ever noticed how you throw the sausage links up on the griddle to one side, you throw the eggs up on the griddle to the other side, you never cook them touching?
No, you don't ever want them to touch. It's weird.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it got me to thinking, why do we do that with our underwear?
I have no idea. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I think it is too. But let me tell you, fellas, Sheath has solved that problem. They have come out with men's underwear with not one, but two pockets to keep your eggs and sausage separated.
Thank goodness. This has been a problem for way too long. I can't believe it took, I'm 26 years old, 26 years at least, to come up with something so intelligent. The material is great. Everything about Sheath underwear is amazing. And what's even better, we have a promo code. Promo code Coffee and KOs. If you use the promo code Coffee, the letter N, KOs, at checkout, you get 20% off your entire order. It's a hell of a deal. And let me tell you, the underwear are well worth it. So make sure you go to sheathunderwear.com. Promo code Coffee and KOs. Make sure you separate the sausage and the eggs. And make sure you sheath your dagger. Sheathunderwear.com. Coffee and KOs promo. 20% off. Go get yourself the most comfortable underwear in the world. And don't forget to sheath your dagger.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fight Bananas presents Coffee and KO's podcast. We're crazy about fights and jacked on caffeine.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coffee and KOs podcast. The OG crew today, just us. Kind of feels a little lonely, but it's kind of nice at the same time as well.
I definitely agree. I think, last week was just kind of like not a freak occurrence, but it was just such a big event and we invited like the whole crew on and it was just like a whole event going there. So it's kind of nice to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, we also had I went back and looked and Saturday we had 20 Instagram posts in one day. It was just an absolute crazy weekend. And it does feel like it's like you had all that build up for Saturday. And then I kind of feel like this card is almost kind of forgotten about, even for myself, in a way, I kind of feel just very blah about this card because last week was so good.
I referred UFC 259. I feel like every year there's one giant card that I call kind of the Super Bowl of the UFC. Would you say that UFC 259 was that event?
I mean, as of now, and I do feel like it's going to be kind of hard to top that. I mean, you had not only some of the biggest names in the sport, but it was just, I mean, at the end of the day, when you have Dominic Cruz, who's a legend, and then you have him and Joe Benavidez, and just then there's tons of prospects. When you have those guys on a card, it's special. That's how you know the card is really good. The prelims could have been a fight night. That's how good of a card it was. And no, I totally agree. And I feel we rode that high all through Saturday. And now here we are on Monday, already going into another card, and it's kind of like it's great. I love that the UFC is doing it, but it's like it feels so weird. Like you said, it's like the Super Bowl, but yet football didn't end. Like fighting didn't end. Here we are. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the Super Bowl, you're like, damn, now I got to wait a couple months. We don't have to wait. Fights are here, but it almost, I don't know, it feels weird.
It feels weird. I agree with you. Like I'm still like new to UFC and how all these events come out and everything. And I imagine it wasn't like this where it was week by week by week. I can't really remember what it was like before. Was it like once a month, or like how did they have that schedule?
Well, I feel like there was always fights, but like it definitely wasn't every single week. I think as the UFC has grown, is because they have so many fighters on their roster now. Like it was, back in the day, like it was like once every couple months, like way back in the day. And then I thought you were looking at me, Carrie. And then like, over time, it kind of got more frequent. And then it was like, okay, like maybe 2 or 3 Saturdays a month. And now it's just like there's barely any off weeks. Like it's every single week there's fights.
And I'm finding it hard to like flip the switch. Like, how do we go from UFC? Like, if that is the Super Bowl and that's UFC 259, there's still so much to talk about that we could still talk about today. But we have to just kind of flip the switch and be like, all right, Belal Muhammad, Leon Edwards, like, let's just get into it. And like, there's really no more content we're putting out like with that amazing card. It just goes so quick. I'm having a tough time keeping up with it, to be honest.
You almost feel like there should be an off week. Like give us a week off to crave, the fights again, because like we did so much and put so much time into UFC 259. And I agree. Like, I feel like, unfortunately super, super busy yesterday. So I wasn't able to I really wanted to break down our whole recap show and turn it into a bunch of little videos and post those. I wasn't able to. I got just really busy. I didn't really have any sleep. I was basically up for over 24 hours. So, I didn't get a chance to do that. But yeah, here we are, UFC Vegas 21. And it's another good card. I mean, the UFC really is delivering with just every week. It seems there's really good cards. And then the weeks that the cards don't look great, they end up overperforming. So, I mean, I feel like we've been super spoiled. As of now, I did look at the future. It does seem like there's kind of a break. I think it's like March 27th to like April 16th. That could totally change. So, I mean, that's just what I'm seeing right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dana White adds a fight night onto there or not, because I feel like this fight night, it was supposed to, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, it was supposed to be an off weekend, because I remember I had plans with my wife. And we made plans, and then Dana White just ended up like creating a card. So, as of now, there's 2 weeks slated to be off, but I think that they could easily add cards into there.
I think they will. I just think you just see Dana White, he's the huge opportunist. Like when they asked him about Texas reopening and they were like, oh, have you had discussions with Texas? He was like, I was literally on the phone with Texas the day they announced it. Like, when we have the opportunity to have a full crowd, we're going to be the first ones to do it. So I see him just taking that gap and filling it up at some point. We've seen before, just not too long ago, a few weeks ago, like you'd look at ESPN, look at the Fight Center, and there would be like no fights lined up. And then by like the end of the week, all of a sudden they have like a 15 fight card. So I think he'll turn it around here. But we do have a 15 fight card again on this one, knock on wood. And we also have a 7 fight main card. 7 fights on the main card here.
Yeah, we got lots of picking to do, and a lot of interesting matchups on this one as well. That I feel could also kind of go either way. Like I feel like last week was a really interesting week as far as matchups were concerned. All fights were really, really close, and now this week you get another card that on paper the matchups are pretty close as well. I'm looking at the odds right now over to my right, and there's nothing really substantial that kind of pops off off the page to me. So it's going to be another very interesting card. And again, the fight nights always have the chance to be ridiculous. And I am circling Dan Ige, Gavin Tucker, fireworks. That's all I got to say about that fight is fireworks.
Well, I feel like we put out, I think we both actually put it out on our Instagram. We were asking for some fan questions, and one of the fan questions was, what is your second favorite fight on the card? And you just kind of nailed it right there. I definitely think without a doubt. Dan Ige taking on Gavin Tucker, which was a Tucker coming in to replace Ryan Hall, which would have been a fun fight. But Tucker versus Ige, just two similar guys. That is going to be a very fun fight. I think we'd both agree that's got to be the kind of the second. That should kind of be the co-main, in my opinion.
That's my number one. That is my number one fight of the night.
Oh, no way. Edwards Muhammad, dude. Come on.
That fight gets me more excited than Edwards Belal Muhammad. It does. I mean, the thing that I am excited to see Leon back. Like, it's been so long, but I just feel like I don't know. Dan Ige, Gavin Tucker, I feel like is going to just be an absolute banger. Like, I really think that fight is going to be better than Belal and Leon Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going both ways. I think Leon, if he's smart, he hasn't fought in so long. He needs a statement win. He's sitting at that number 3 ranking. If he really wants to get a title shot, he needs to go out there and finish Muhammad. So I'm hoping to see some fireworks there. And Muhammad never backs down, so that'll be fun. Ige, Tucker, sneaky. Both of these guys like to grapple. So if it goes to the ground, it could be one of those boring fights if you're not like a hardcore fan, I guess. But yeah, either way, I think this whole card definitely is going to have some good finishes for sure. But do we want to get into to rate that matchup before?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we only have a few on here. There's nothing too crazy. One of them that we didn't get to talk about yet, but I think we texted about it. But Edson Barboza taking on Shane Burgos at UFC 262. Talk about fireworks. I mean, Shane Burgos is a dude who goes to war every time. Edson Barboza, he just cut down in weight, looked great in his last fight. That's kind of a sneaky 4 for me, to be honest. I actually really like this fight. I think Edson Barboza at his best really is like a top 5 guy.
So Edson Barboza is, I love your my guys list. Like, that is something that, I think is awesome that you did. And Edson Barboza would be up there as one of my guys. I've been a fan of his for a really long time. His fights are always very, very good. And I love this fight. I'm giving it a 4.5 for me. Honestly, nice. I think that I love Barboza at this weight class. I love that he got the new contract. I was super upset when I saw that there was a chance his next fight could be his last fight in the UFC. I didn't want him to go anywhere else because I really like him at this new division. And I think that it's going to be a really, really good fight. I'm all in on Edson Barboza. I think that if he gets a really good win here, he's going to shoot right up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Barboza's 14, Burgos is 12. Burgos has kind of been like hanging around that like fringe 15 for a while. I don't know if he'll ever really kind of pop into like the top 10. I do think Barboza wins that one, but yeah, super fun fight. Marcin Tybura, Walt Harris, June 5th. Tybora's been kind of on a run at this point. Walt Harris, opposite. He's been dropping a lot of his fights. Obviously, he had that devastating 2020 that was just tragic, but I just feel like he hasn't really been the same since then. Sad to say that he could kind of be on his way out of the UFC, and Tybura has just been kind of turning a corner here. So I'm not really super excited about this one. I'd honestly kind of give it like a 2.5.
I was just going to say 2.5. I'm not really excited about it. I think as Aaron says here in the chat, I think Tybura runs right through Walt Harris. We saw what he did against Greg Hardy, who has more punching power than what Walt Harris has. And he has the thing that kills Walt Harris is if he doesn't knock you out in the first like 2 minutes of the fight, he has no gas. I can kind of see it going the same way where, Tybura just kind of lets him tire out and just, actually Walt Harris has pretty awful takedown defense too, like really, really bad. Like if it was a UFC game and it was ranked out of 10, like it might be a 1. Like his takedown defense is awful. And every single time he fights, he always says like, I've been working on my wrestling, and it's just, he's just not there yet. And like you said, he's older. Like I can totally see this being his last fight in the UFC. And I think Tybura was a guy that everyone in the UFC was very high on. Like he is a very well-rounded heavyweight. He did go through a rough patch there, but he has really kind of turned it on in 2020. I think that he easily gets it done. Like, I don't know if I'll go like round 1 because I can kind of see him just kind of gassing out Walt Harris, but I think early finish in round 2 for Tybura, either by sub or ground and pound. I kind of see it going very similar to the Greg Hardy fight.
Yep, I would agree with that one. Yeah, I wasn't really too impressed with that one. We just didn't really have too many matchups that came up. The next one I know that you're excited about because it's another guy who's on your guy on your list. So Cub Swanson, Giga Chikadze, May 1st. This is a sick fight. Cub Swanson was basically, I think, fighting for his UFC career in his last fight. And then Giga Chikadze has just been on a run, just rampaging through everyone. I kind of like say he's like a mini style bender in the way that he fights. Like he's very smart, very versatile in his striking, very accurate. I love this fight. This is his first true test, but Cub Swanson obviously been around the block for a while. Yeah, 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 4 out of 5. I'm not going to give it quite the bump close to 5.
I'm going to go 4 out of 5. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous. Giga Chikadze is nasty. He is such a good striker. I agree with Aaron. I think Cub has to get this fight to the ground. I do not think he can stand and trade. Now, Cub has crazy power. I mean, he's got power in his hands, but I think he's going to be slower. Giga is just, he is so fast, dude. His kicks are so good. I think Cub has to take the fight to the ground and almost try to get a sub or just wear on Giga. So really like this fight. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. I can't go 4.5. I love Cub Swanson. I think the fact that I'm a little nervous is going to drop it to a 4 for me. If I felt confident in it, I'd probably go 4.5. But it's not that I think Cub can definitely get it done. I still think he's an absolute savage. But it's just, it's one of those fights where it could be like changing of the guard type of thing. So makes me a little nervous. But yeah, I really like that fight a lot.
Yeah, for sure. That's a solid fight. May 1st, that's going down. The next one's here, and this one's kind of funny because we definitely touched upon it in our recap, so I know Aaron will like this, and it's not even a booked fight. It's just been mentioned. But so Holly Holm got injured, so Juliana Pena does not have an opponent right now. And she was texting Dana White like all night, apparently, saying she wants Nunes. And Dana White said it's not definitely, but something that he would be interested in and potentially making. So this is a hypothetical one. What would you think about Juliana Pena taking on Nunes?
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
Her submission game is solid. That's really
okay. She's gonna get her head punched off. Yeah. And Nunes has a decent ground game. Like, let's not forget that. So
not even decent. She's elite.
She's good. Yeah, she's very good. So yeah, that fight sucks. Juliana Pena is not even near. Like, that's what I mean by, like, sometimes you're so good that like you're almost not marketable. Like that, no one's paying for that fight because it's awful. Like, that fight is just bad. Like, and that's nothing against Amanda Nunes, but it's just, she is such a dominating figure that it's like, it's just not like, it's not marketable. And it's almost, sometimes it hurts to be that good and that much higher than everyone else, because when it comes down to paying for pay-per-views, who's paying $75 for that? I don't know. I'm not in on that. But at the same time, Amanda Nunes is running out of opponents. It's like, it's kind of to the point where if she retires, like, I feel like she's retiring not based on just being like, she's obviously the skill set's there. It's just, she's beating everyone, like, losing interest. It's just not fun anymore. Like, once she beat Cyborg and knocked her out, I feel like that was it. Like, it was just, okay, she is like that. That's like, she's reached level 10. She's beat every single level in every single game. Like, there's just no more. You can't go any further than where she's gone.
No, I totally agree with you. And then Aaron says, Pena was winning that fight against Jermaine Durand, ends up getting subbed, but then she goes against Sarah McMahon as the underdog in that one. And she was kind of losing that fight, kind of pulled out the sub. So, like, you've really got to impress if you want to get Amanda Nunes. Like, I mean, she's had a couple of those big finishes, but no one's really getting excited in the women's division for Amanda Nunes. She still said she wants to fight. She'll literally fight anyone. She's not going to really back down from a fight. But yeah that's an easy 1 out of 5.
Like, honestly, for her, like, it would be dumb to retire because she can literally take these fights. And you could give, like, if they scheduled this right now and Nunes had no fight camp and Pena had a full fight camp, I'm still going Amanda Nunes. And I'm going Amanda Nunes in almost everyone. Like, aside from maybe Holly Holm, who I still think she would beat, but it'd be tough for her if she didn't have a camp, and Valentina Shevchenko. Like, those are the two girls that I'm like, okay, Amanda Nunes, full camp, just in case. All these other women, like, Amanda Nunes could fight them like tomorrow with no notice, and she would destroy them. Like, that's where we've gotten with Amanda Nunes.
God, yeah. I'm looking at the rankings. I just don't see the name, but I don't want to dwell on that one too much because I like this hypothetical fight better. So TJ Dillashaw, basically, they said that he's not going to get the immediate title shot, but he is going to get the title eliminator. We don't know who that's going to be. I would assume it's going to be Corey Sandhagen. So TJ Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen, hypothetical there. I mean, that's a really fun fight. Huge size difference in that one, but that would be a fun one to watch. I'd still give that like a 4 to watch that one.
I give it a 4 out of 5, but it pisses me off because Sandhagen should have the title shot. Like, he shouldn't be in a title eliminator, but now everything that's happened with Jan and Sterling and the fact they're going to run it back, it's like
they kind of have to.
Yeah, they have to, because like at this point, let's just say Jan and Sterling, like they're going to probably fight 4 months from now, 5 months from now. Like, they might not even, like, after that, Jan might not fight again until 2022. So I don't know, like, Sandhagen's not going to wait around for that. I think he'll fight one more time. I give the matchup a 4 out of 5, possibly even 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a great fight. But it sucks for, like, Sandhagen got the raw end of the stick on Saturday.
So did Rob Font, though, as well. Like, someone who catches fire over a big finish over Marlon Moraes, and now he's going to be left without someone because Aldo and Cody are probably going to fight. So they might do like Frank Yeager or Pedro Munoz against Font, but I feel like that's going to kind of derail his momentum as well, which sucks.
I think they should do, because of this, I almost think they should do Garbrandt Font.
They should, but I think Garbrandt called out Jose, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But like, for my opinion, like if Garbrandt goes out and he like starches Rob Font, like to me, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. Like, Rob Font did have a really impressive win over Marlon Moraes, but at the same time, like, Marlon Moraes has been struggling. So I don't know. It's tough. It sucks because I would have rather see Sandhagen versus whoever won the belt, or Jan, whoever, as long as the illegal knee didn't happen, Sandhagen, whoever the champ was, and then Font versus Dillashaw. And I think that would have been perfect. But now we're stuck in this weird thing, and it just sucks. And yes,
I was going to ask you about that. You think he's coming back 2021?
I do think he comes back. I do. And I think,
God, what a mess that would be.
And the thing is with him, he could fight 2 divisions. He could come back, try to fight Figueiredo. He could come back and fight the winner.
Volkanovski too.
Yeah, but if Volkanovski loses to Ortega, that will stop.
Yeah, he won't take that.
Because that Cejudo, Volkanovski is the only guy I think that he could possibly beat because Volkanovski is shorter. I think anyone else in that division probably gives him fits, just based on the size. Like Aaron said last time, there's divisions for a reason. So, but no, yeah, I want Cejudo to come back. He retired way too young. There were so many fights for him. But like I always say, retirements in MMA are like deaths in soap operas. They always come back. So,
and Cejudo has just been steady chirping like throughout the last, whenever he retired. It's just been whatever that point was up until today. He's been chirping. He chirped Aljamain. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. He's the king of cringe. Just stop chirping. Just come back and fight. Like, let's do it. What is he even doing in retirement?
Who knows? I listen. He is cringy, but he is exciting as hell to watch in the octagon.
Oh, I love him.
I love watching him fight. So I hope he comes back. I'm paying for his fight every single time. He's super exciting. Since his win against Demetrius Johnson, he has just been on another level. I mean, he did have that one round against Moraes, but other than that,
finished the shit out of TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah. EPO TJ Dillashaw nonetheless. So
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he dismantled him. So yeah, Henry Cejudo is just a savage, bro, and I hope he comes back.
So that's rate that matchup. And as far as headlines go, I have a few things on here. Obviously, the biggest thing outside of UFC 259 madness was Dan Hardy. So him and the UFC parted ways. It was very weird. Like, there's really no straight answer on this one. I guess there was some disagreement that he had with the UFC employee. I don't know what, there's like literally no details into that, but he's still on contract as a fighter and he's still breaking down fights on his own personal channel. So how did you feel about this? Are you a big Dan Hardy fan?
I like Dan Hardy. I mean, I think he's super knowledgeable when he's on the broadcast, but I feel like he's been on the hot seat ever since he called out Herb Dean in the middle of the card. I do think So this is my thing. Like, I kind of wanted to see Dan Hardy come back and fight one more time just to see. He did kind of retire kind of young. So I do want him to come back and fight. I don't know if it's going to happen now, though. Like, he gets canned from the UFC. I feel like him and Dana's relationship has kind of been dicey. So I don't know. Like, I'd love to see him come back and fight. I don't know if it's going to happen now. I feel like this kind of put a stop to that. And it sucks. I do like him. I do like his commentating. I think he's super intelligent. I like the way he commentates, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. And, you know, eventually down the road, maybe we'll find out. I don't know. I feel like the UFC is very good at hiding things like the Ottman thing. Like, let's be real. There's no way there's potatoes in that. There was no potatoes in that bag. Like, they're very good at hiding stuff and not letting certain headlines come out. And, you know, that might be one. Maybe we don't know. Like, look at the Jordan Espinoza thing with Tim Elliott. Like, that thing's on Yahoo, like one of the top headlines on Yahoo. And we heard nothing about any allegations against Jordan Espinoza. So, I mean, the UFC seems pretty good at hiding things, but also there's no union. So,
but at the same time, wouldn't you think Dan Hardy, like, if it was something that was outrageous, he would definitely be open about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's really, well, I guess because he wants to fight in the UFC again, so maybe he would keep it under wraps. But after the fact, if he does like retire officially, I feel like he'd have no problem coming out and saying what was going on.
I mean, he does seem like a pretty upfront and just honest person. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, who knows? It had to be pretty bad because Dana's a guy that kind of lets his guys be outspoken. I mean, I don't know if Dana White is the guy that makes those decisions at the end of the day. Like, I don't know if it comes down to him or there's other people, but I mean, Dana White's a guy that lets the fighters kind of do and say as they please. And so it must be pretty bad if they let him go, because I feel like not many people get let go for things like that. Like, look at Mike Perry. Apparently he beat the shit out of his ex-wife. He's still in the UFC. So, I mean, that's true. That's hypothetical, but I mean, to me, like, you must be guilty. It must be obvious that you're guilty, and it must be pretty bad because, like, Mike Perry, like, you got the whole phone call and everything else, and he's still in the UFC with a fight booked. So, I don't know. To me, like, there's got to be a lot of evidence, and it's got to be pretty bad for you to get let go.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. But that was probably, the biggest news I had on here outside of UFC 259. The other small thing on here was Luke Rockhold is making a return. I don't know if you saw that. He doesn't know if it's going to be middleweight or light heavyweight. What is that? Laura Sanko came out on our Instagram and said it was not her who was the employee. Yeah, because someone did mention it was a female employee, and it's I mean, how many?
There's probably multiple female employees. Like, Laura Sanko and Megan O'Leary are like the two known ones, but there's probably tons of them that work for the UFC. So Karen Bryant.
I don't know, because no one's coming out and saying anything. It's just very fishy the way that it went down. But yeah, the Luke Rockhold return. Are you excited about that or not? Either class he picks middleweight or light heavyweight. I don't really see it going well for him, but
I mean, I'll laugh again when he gets knocked out again. But
exactly, that's about it, right? Like, I'm not excited to get knocked out.
I'm not expecting him. I hope that the betting line, I hope that the prop bet is that he get like it's plus 300 on a knockout for Luke Rockhold, because I'm betting it all day. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Luke Rockhold, his chin has been gone since forever ago, and he just retires, comes back. Like, modeling must not pay that well, because he keeps coming back to fight every once in a while, and I'm not excited about it. He thought moving up to, I don't even know what his last fight was at, but he thought moving up was going to help the chin. It didn't. He's done. He's been done ever since his loss to Bisping. I'm out on Rockhold, and I'll watch the fight though, because we watch every fight.
Dude, yeah, his last fight was against Jan Blachowicz, light heavyweight, round 2 TKO. Did not end well for him.
I remember distinctly. I was at my friend's house, and that is like the first fight. I told all my friends, I said, put tons of money on Luke Rockhold getting knocked out. And they're like, why? I said, just do it. I promise it's going to hit. And sure enough, it hit. And I actually made money that day because my friends all paid me because I made them money. So
finder's fee.
Yeah. And he's bad.
Yeah, I'm not too excited about that one. There was really no other headlines. I don't know if you wanted to touch upon anything from UFC 259 or if you wanted to just kind of get into the picks.
Was there something you wanted to touch on 259? I mean, we could talk
I mean,
259 for a couple minutes
just
if you want.
obviously the Petr Yan Aljamain thing keeps popping up, and Ray Longo came out and was just saying that Aljamain's getting all this heat from everyone, just like so much hate mail from all the fans on social media, and it's not his fault. Like it's really not his fault.
This stems from the fact that he basically had to choose to continue or not. If the UFC would just make it that if you wear an illegal shot, the fight is done and the other fighter is disqualified and there's no gray area, he wouldn't receive any heat. It's because of all the antics that followed after he wore that shot that is leading people to, and it looks bad. It does. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it does look like he was faking it. I've went back and watched it. The fact that he tweeted after, it looks bad. It really does.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't want the belt, then he takes a picture outside of, at a party wearing the belt. It all looks bad. But it wouldn't have looked this bad if the UFC just had a rule that, okay, he wore an illegal knee, the fight is over, he's the champion. Instead, it was, Mark Smith asking him over and over, can you continue? Just lay there, blah, blah, blah. And that's what is causing all of this. It's not his fault. I mean, he shouldn't. At the end of the day, any fighter that wears an illegal shot, especially as flush as that, shouldn't be able to continue. Did it look bad?
Right.
Yes. He looked like an absolute fool. I feel like he was milking the shit out of it. But I do the same thing.
That was kind of the other side of it too. It was like, you pretty much know you're going to lose this fight too. Like, it's just like a weird unwritten thing that you're kind of going to milk this if you can literally change belts in that moment. I know that's obviously like a huge cop out and it's the coward's way out, but that's got to pop into your head for sure.
Think about the pay difference. Mike Bisping. I listened to Michael Bisping podcast the other day, and he said, "What?" No, I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he was talking about how all these fighters want money fights, and he's like, the real money fight is becoming champion. If you become champion, your salary doubles, triples than for what it was.
Plus sponsorships and whatnot. Like, you are the champ in the UFC. You can promote the shit out of that.
Exactly. So, milk it. He first off, the knee was so blatant. Like, everything leading into that, I'm sitting here and I'm watching it, and I'm like, he's gonna knee him. He's gonna freaking knee him. And this is 20 seconds before it happened. And he was already on a fine line because during that fight, he was throwing axe kicks while Aljamain was down on the ground. If you would have landed him flush on one of those, it's a DQ. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on in his head. And, Mark Smith warned him and his corner warned him. Nothing, it didn't matter. So I'm all in. Aljamain, he was losing and they run it back. He's probably going to lose. But at the end of the day, I would milk it to become the champ, make a little extra money. And I now have experience against him in the octagon that I can go back and work on. And, and if you look at the striking, actually the numbers were pretty close.
It was, but from a volume perspective, it was. But
and from a viewer standpoint, Sterling was sloppy as hell. That to me, automatically looked bad. So no, I 100% agree. I think if anything, Sterling maybe won round one. Outside of that, he got destroyed in every other round, but he got knocked down in round one. So
also just think about the fact that he made that decision, and now the fight is going to go into not an immediate rematch, but it's going to happen. And now think about how much bigger the rematch is going to be, because the bad blood is going to be 3 times worse. They can promote this fight to the T. This is going to be the ultimate rematch that we get to watch, and it just makes the money even better in that perspective too.
Yeah, at first I thought Dana would be pissed, but if anything, Dana's kind of smiling because this is gonna allow the pay-per-view buys to go way up. Aaron says Sterling at dog money would be nice.
I don't know if that's sarcasm from Aaron or not.
No, I do feel like if anything, it benefits Aljamain, because I do think that Jan is better. I think Jan without a doubt is better than Sterling, but I don't know if Sterling is light years behind Jan. I think his game plan was shitty, or maybe it wasn't the game plan. Maybe it was just nerves. He He just came out and was just throwing like weird, wild shit. If he would have been more composed.
But he does that. That's like his thing. He's like the weird, awkward guy, gets in your face, throws those weird, the output. The output is there, but never in a 5-round fight we've seen it.
Yeah, and maybe not that much output. Like I think that maybe he changes up a little bit. But the thing that's gonna suck for him is Jan is a better wrestler. Jan is a way better wrestler. Like we saw, he way better. Like not even close. Like he was way better.
I thought he was gonna sub Aljamain at one point.
And so all Jan has to do is stuff the takedowns. He can trip him and throw him down, and then Jan just stays standing and let Sterling back up. Like that's what I mean. I think Sterling can get better, but I still think Jan is way better than him. I really do.
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty clear. But I also wasn't like super impressed with Jan. Like I thought he could have been more aggressive. I know like early on that was his game plan, was to not really throw the output and kind of do it in the later rounds, but I still wasn't like overly impressed by his performance either way.
I think it's just his fight style. I think that's what it is. I think it's his fight style. He like I said, he kind of like wears shots but doesn't wear them. Like he almost is like a punching bag. Like he lets them get tired but doesn't get significantly hit. Tires them out, because it was kind of the same thing. Like the first couple rounds against Aldo, you're like, okay, he doesn't really look that good. And then it's like rounds 4 and 5, he just picks it up and he just wears on his opponent for the last 2 rounds and either puts them away or just absolutely obliterates them. So I think it's more his fight style than anything else.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he does have a ton of power too. Well, and I was actually surprised that Aljamain was able to take some of those shots, because he was landing clean like later in the rounds when he was getting gassed out too. So I would have expected a round 5 finish there, but I was surprised Sterling didn't get finished earlier. And I kind of wanted to see Jan get the finish earlier. But like you said, I think that's his style. He just kind of drags it out and takes you out into round 4 or 5 and even gets the decision if he wants it.
I really, really, really want to see Jan and Sandhagen so bad. Like I'm more upset that this fight has to be run back than happy, because I really wanted to see Sandhagen versus Petr Yan, because Sandhagen's striking is very good, and more so because of the size advantage. Like he's so
massive,
much bigger.
And I thought Petr Yan was bigger too, but he's only 5'7". He was the same height as Aljo, but Sandhagen's like a legit 5'11", lanky as hell with the reach.
Yeah, so I mean, I would love to see that more than this rematch, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I think that was really the only thing I wanted to talk about from UFC 259, just because it just is going viral every which way you look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the whole card was very good. I think the prelims were better than the main card, but the main card was still very, very good. We had Dom Cruz trying to fight the monster guy now, which is just ridiculous. He's a weirdo. Yeah, and then Jan Blachowicz is just an absolute animal. But we're not going to see them until probably closer to the fall. Jan wants to take at least 6 months off, so we won't see Jan and Glover. I am almost glad. I'm kind of glad that Jan won. Like I look at the light heavyweight division, and when a guy is a two title holder, I feel like it holds up divisions. We don't have to worry about that now. Like we don't have to worry about it. Jan can keep. We can see Jan and Glover, which stylistically is an awesome fight, and then Izzy can go back and fight the winner of Paulo Costa and Whitaker, and like nothing's being held up. If Izzy won the belt and decides to keep them both and defend them both, now you're talking like he's maybe fighting twice a year and the divisions get held up, and then you're talking interim belts. And so I'm kind of glad in ways that Izzy lost so that Jan could have the belt.
But the worst thing about that is, in an ideal world, Izzy goes in there, finishes Jan. John Jones, I don't really know how that would play out. Maybe he loses heavyweight and wants to come back down to 205 to fight Izzy. But that super fight at 205 for the belt between Izzy and John Jones, I think in an ideal world, that's what every single person wants to see in the UFC. But that kind of got killed with Izzy losing. And he might even jump up to 205 again in the future. But he needs to go and hold down the title at 185 for a little while.
I still don't think John Jones and Izzy was going to happen. You
don't think so?
He's really worked really hard to put on all that weight. He's probably hovering around like 230, 240. Like And that's hardcore training and not cut, like no weight cut. So I feel like that's a lot to go up that much weight and then to go back immediately. Like, and John Jones is not young. Like, he's not young. So for me, like, it gets harder to cut weight as you get older too.
Yeah,
so
he wouldn't cut down then to eventually go back up. Like, once he's at heavyweight, he's going to do his thing at heavyweight. There's no going back to 205 and then going back up to 255 or 265, whatever. He's in it. If he loses, I think he'll drop back down. If he wins, maybe we see a little title run there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right.
Yeah,
are you ready to? Sorry.
Yeah. No. I saw Aaron's comment come in, but yeah, I'm down to make picks.
And
I totally agree. Izzy didn't really put on any weight. John Jones is literally adding like 50 pounds. That's insane.
Well, especially because John Jones, like, he's kind of stopped knocking guys out. So, like, he's going to have to rely on the wrestling. And we all know that if you're going to wrestle, and you need to be physically stronger. So, I think he really it's important for him to be, a legit heavyweight. Like, even if he comes in at 230, that's way too small. Like, he needs to come in. I think he needs to come in at like 250.
Well, what did Grant Dawson say? He said weight only matters when you're grappling, and that's what John Jones is going to need to do. So, yeah, he's going to have to put on that weight and be able to hang, because you saw exactly what happened with Izzy when he was undersized. These guys just lay on top of you. He was not getting up. There was zero chance he was getting up.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Jan could have just laid on him. He wasn't gonna.
He did, basically.
Yeah. But all right, yeah, let's make some picks. We're going into UFC Vegas 21, another really, really good card. The prelims also very good. Just kind of highlight some of the people. Obviously, Jason Witt, our guy, leads off the whole entire card.
Underdog alert.
He was a favorite, and now he's kind of moved to an underdog. I'm pretty sure he was like minus 110 or minus 120 last week when we looked. He moves to plus 110. I like Jason Witt. Obviously, he's been on our show. Great guy. I think he's going to be stronger than Semmelsberger. I think he has to wrestle. I don't think he should strike with Semmelsberger. I think that he should wrestle him, keep him to the ground. So obviously, we're highlighting that one. I can't talk. Highlighting Jonathan Martinez and Davey Grant. I think that's a really good fight. I'm excited for that. Martinez a huge favorite in that one at minus.
Didn't we just see him fight? He just fought recently, didn't he?
Yeah, he seems to fight kind of pretty often. Charles Jourdain, I really like him. I'm excited to see him fight. Nasrat Haqparast, he was huge for a lot of people, and he's kind of trying to make another run. Courtney Casey, she just fought recently. This is what I mean though. She's 9-8 and still in the UFC. Like, that's what I mean. Like, the UFC really needs to. I mean, the women divisions need to just get more talent so that they can. I mean, nothing against Courtney Casey, but 9-8 is not very good. Like, that is a cut. Like, you're cut. If you're a man, you are not fighting anywhere near the UFC at 9-8. Like, you're fighting in the back streets somewhere. Like, it's not going to be good. So she fights JJ Aldrich, and she is an underdog. So this could be her last fight. And then we got Ricardo Ramos versus Zabera Tuhugov. I can't pronounce that name. Carrie, try it. Tukagov. There you go. Yeah, Aaron, that's what I mean. Randa Marcos is 10-10. Like, that just, like, what happens if Marcos loses her next fight and is 10-11? Like, you cannot have someone with a losing record.
Shayna Dobson is 4-5.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that can't happen. It's just such a bad look. Like, I'd rather the UFC just have like 5 female fighters in a division as long as they're good. Like, you can't have 15, 20 female fighters and 50% of them with losing records. Like, that's just not a good look. Oh, all right. Main card. Here we go. Our man starting off the main card. He's been a friend of our show. Eryk Anders versus Darren Stewart. Dude, I don't like this fight. I don't like this fight for Eryk Anders.
Yikes.
So Anders is 13-5. Darren Stewart 12-6. So pretty close records. Darren Stewart is a heavy favorite. Well, I guess not heavy, but minus 180 is pretty decent. Listen, Eryk Anders has had a rough go, really, since his loss to Khalil Roundtree. He's really struggled. His last fight got called because he couldn't make the weight and ended up in the hospital. Listen, Eryk Anders, I love him. I don't want to pick against him, and it sucks. But I'm not too confident in this one, man. I think Darren Stewart gets it done. And I hate doing that.
Do we want to just not include this one in the picks because it's one of our guys and we just kind of axe that? What do you think?
Yeah, let's axe that one.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for Eryk Anders. I want him to get a knockout finish. I'm just going to say, I'm going to leave it at this. Darren Stewart is tough, and he looked pretty good his last fight. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's hope Eryk Anders goes in and gets the knockout. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that's, to me, it's just if Anders can go back to his original style of just like power wrestling guys, and he obviously has a ton of power in his striking as well. We just haven't really seen him use that in a while. So I really want to see him go back to that, because I remember seeing Darren Stewart take on Darren Wynn. That was in Boston. And Darren Wynn, short, stocky wrestler, he was taking him down all night. And that, I think actually Stewart ended up winning that split decision, but that's definitely the way to go, is to wrestle Darren Stewart. It's just going to be tough. I don't know where Darren Stewart is, man. He just fought Kevin Holland into a split decision, but I saw him fighting Cage Warriors like last year. I think it was in 2020, and he lost that fight. And
I forget what happened
man.
with did he lose to Holland?
Yeah, he did. It was split decision, but it was a close fight.
The last round, he kind of poured it on and almost beat Holland.
I think it was something. Yeah. And he had 3 takedowns against Kevin Holland too, which is tough. So it's a tough matchup for Eryk Anders. That's 100% true.
Yeah. Hopefully our boy and your boy gets it done. All right. The next one, Manel Kape back again. He just fought not that long ago off of a performance that he just kind of did. He didn't really do much. Versus Matheus, Nicolau, Pereira. I think that was pretty good on that one. And there's no. Do you have odds on this one? Because I don't have odds on here.
No, they haven't come out on ESPN. If you want to talk, I can get it on DraftKings probably.
So Kape, his most recent fight was against Alexander Pantoja. Pantoja is obviously a stud, and it was a fight that he just didn't do anything. We waited and waited and waited, and he just didn't do anything at all, which ended up ultimately hurting him. He got a loss in his UFC debut. Pereira has a 13-2-1 record. Kape 15-5. I'm gonna ride with Kape on this one. I don't know much about Pereira, but the hype around Kape is there. He's a guy that a lot of people like. I think that he got the UFC jitters out. I think he's gonna come out this time. I'm not gonna go finish. I'm gonna go decision for Kape. I think that hopefully I can kind of see him putting together, piecing up rounds, and just kind of good striking. But I don't know if he's going to get the finish. I think he'll win by decision. So I'm going to go Kape.
Kape decision. So he is -137 favorite. You can get Pereira +128. So basically a pick 'em right there. And I think, so Manel Kape, former Ryzen champ, gets the extremely tough draw in Alexander Pantoja. So I don't really know what to take from that. Pantoja is a stud. So he didn't really look great in that, but he definitely is like very athletic. He moves well. He's very quick. He is a finisher, 14-15 wins by finish, but Pereira kind of has an interesting backstory. So he was in the Ultimate Fighter Brazil back in 2015, ended up signing with the UFC. 4 years later, 2019, he gets released. So now, actually, I think it was 2018, but now this is like his first fight back in about 3 years. But yeah, you guessed it. He was the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, black belt, 6 takedowns, 5 sub attempts in 4 total UFC fights. So that's obviously just an annoying style against anyone. Manel Kape also has 5 subs on his record, so I think he is pretty solid on the ground too. I like to go with Manel Kape here. I think the Pantoja was a tough draw, so I like Kape, and I'll go TKO on it.
I think also with Kape is like Pantoja, because it was such a tough matchup, he kind of played it safe. Did a lot of flashy, like trying to, showboat and stuff like that, but he did more showboating than he did striking. Like, I think this time he kind of a little bit more focused, not so much showboating. He's got to get a win here to get kind of off the schneid when it comes to his UFC record. So yeah, I'm going to go Manel Kape as well. I already said that. Carry your turn.
Yeah, we heard that. First time we went.
I had to just make it be known. I was going, guys, just so you know, I'm going Manel Kape.
Back in the day on the G4 channel, I used to watch a show called Attack of the Show. It was hosted by Olivia Munn and Kevin Pereira. I love that show. Love those hosts. So I got to go Pereira, and I'm going sub.
All right. Okay, next one. Or Steve, sorry, you can take us to the next one if you want.
So this is a fight that got scratched a few weeks ago, got rebooked. We got Angela Hill taking on Ashley Yoder, number 12 Angela Hill. This is a tough one for me. So I originally had Angela Hill winning this one. I think she just, she turned a corner in her career for sure. I think she is on a 2-fight losing streak, but those are both, I think, split decisions. They were very close. I think it was in her Waterston fight. I think she actually won that fight by dealing. It was like a volume versus damage type of situation. I think Hill had more damage dealt, but that's a tough drop for her. So I do like Angela Hill a lot. She's a very good striker, very good fight IQ. The only problem I have here is Ashley Yoder. Significant size advantage. She also has a significant reach advantage. She's a wrestler. If this gets taken to the ground, I just think from the sheer size that Yoder has, it'll be an absolute problem for Angela Hill. So I don't know. I think I'm going to flip the switch here. I had Hill decision, but I'm actually going to go. I think Yoder's going to be able to get in there and wrestle, and I'll go Yoder decision.
Nice. I'm pretty sure I had Yoder last time by sub. And actually, I'm kind of going to flip the script. I'm going to actually go Angela Hill here. I think Hill is just a better striker. Angela Hill is very tough because every time you think she's going to win, I feel like she loses. And every time you think she's going to lose, she wins. So I feel like it's really tough don't bet money on Angela Hill. That's all I got to say. Because you just don't know what the hell is going to happen. I like Hill. I feel like she's just one of those. She's just supremely confident. And like you said, I think she did beat Michelle Waterson. It was a really close fight, but I do think she beat her. I'm going Angela Hill. I'm going to go decision. I don't really have anything else to add. I like Angela Hill. I think she's a good boxer. She's kind of starting to she's kind of like almost, she's like on the UFC broadcast teams now. Like she's on, she does like a detailed thing for ESPN every once in a while. She does some of the broadcast stuff with Karen Bryant. So she's kind of like becoming a big name in the UFC. So I don't know whether to put stock in that or not. I also don't know because we've seen like the broadcast team kind of struggle record wise. I mean, Dominic Cruz finally got one for the broadcast team. So, but we're gonna go Angela Hill here by decision.
She's also liked a few of our tweets, so you gotta throw that into consideration as well.
I agree.
I think it's as simple as Hill's gonna bring the thrill and make a little Yoder blood spill. So, but I think it's gonna end decision. So I'm gonna go Hill decision. I'm also gonna make that.
Oh
make
boy!
That scary carry versus Steve.
Zach, did you have Hill finishing or no?
No, decision. All right, Steve. Or no, sorry, I'm next. Sorry. I mean, Steve, if you want, you can preview Danny Gay and Philipe Lins if you want. Or Gavin Tucker, sorry.
That'd be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sure. I'll take this one. I don't mind. So Danny Gay, number 9 ranked Danny Gay. He is a tough son of a bitch. One of those guys, I think he's not like full-time training. He has like the full-time job. He kind of bounces between the two, but definitely just gets it done in the octagon. Gavin Tucker, I thought this was pretty interesting. Dan Ige is only 29 years old. Gavin Tucker is actually 34. Only 13-1 pro record. Dan Ige 14-3. This one's really tough for me. Like Gavin Tucker, to me, made a huge statement when he won against Billy Q, because I obviously had Billy Q winning that fight. Going into that one, that was tough for me to watch, but he ran through Billy Q. Billy Q is a great grappler, great wrestler, and he was able to, he had 7 of 13 on the takedowns, 5 minutes plus control against Billy Q. So I think we've answered a lot of questions about how good Gavin Tucker actually is, and now he's on a 3-fight win streak. Dan Ige, I don't really know what to do with him. We also saw him fight Calvin Kattar. It went all 5 rounds, but he got pieced up pretty bad. But before that, dude, he has a win over Edson Barbosa. He was on a 6-fight win streak, and 5 of his last 6 have gone to decision. So I'm kind of leaning on this one, like being fireworks back and forth, but I don't think either guy gets the finish. And I'm having a really hard time picking between the two, because I do love Dan Ige, but something inside of me is saying to go with Gavin Tucker in this one. I think when he beat Billy Q, he kind of took the torch from him. So I'm going to go with Gavin Tucker in this one and give me decision on it.
You bastard. You broke it down exactly what I was going to say. I think.
Oh, yeah, you gave that to me, so that's on you.
Dan Ige is a tough SOB, dude. Like, he doesn't really get finished. I can kind of, like you said, I can almost see these two just in the center of the octagon, just playing rock'em sock'em robots. But I don't think either one of them falls. Gavin Tucker threw everything at Billy Q, didn't finish him. Dan Ige has been in wars and hasn't, he doesn't really get finished. But I think Gavin Tucker is going to have the advantage. I think that a slight advantage though. Like, I don't think he's going to maybe wrestle. Maybe he'll take him down and be able to control him there. But at the end of the day, I still don't think Dan Ige gets finished. But I'm still going to go Gavin Tucker by decision as well. I like him there. And I think that if he does start to get hit a little bit, I think he'll take him down. And we saw, Billy Q is very, very good. And he just, was able to control that fight on the ground the entire time. So I think that Gavin Tucker just has a little bit of an edge. If Ige starts to piece him up a bit, he'll take it to the ground. And that's, Gavin Tucker could have the striking advantage too. The one thing to look out for is Dan Ige does have a 5-inch reach advantage. So
that's big.
That's a pretty sizable reach advantage.
That scares me a little bit, not going to lie.
Tucker ain't no sucker. I think he's going to come out and fight like a badass mother. So I'm going Tucker, but I'll switch it up from you guys. I'll take Tucker as a sub because why not?
Okay. I wonder what the line is for Tucker by sub. I don't know how many of those he has in his.
We have Tucker across the board on that.
Yeah, I think. Listen, Tucker's kind of becoming one of my guys as well. Like, I just love his fight style. I like what he brings to the table. But again, it's not like I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Ige wins. Like, I'm not gonna say
Correct.
Dan Ige doesn't have a shot. Like, I think the lines are perfect on this one. I think Ige kind of deserves to be the favorite. I think he's fought tougher competition, but I think Gavin Tucker at plus 110 is fair. Like, I don't think that's disrespectful at all either. So I like the betting lines, and I think that at the end of the day, I think Gavin Tucker gets it done, and Coffee and KOs will be happy.
Well, let's go.
All right. Then we got Ben Rothwell, Philipe Lins. This is a pick'em fight right now as it stands is minus 110. Ben Rothwell lost his last one. I forget who it was against. But he lost his last fight. And
didn't he lose to Tybura recently as well?
I think it was Tybura actually was his last loss. Let me look.
I got it here.
His last loss was Tybura.
Yep.
This freaking thing. ESPN. He did beat so this is the thing with Rothwell. His last two wins were against OSP, who moved up to heavyweight, and then Stefan Struve, who, not to be mean, but has lost to everyone. So recently, and then he retired. So and then he lost to Ivanov and Arlovsky. So that to me is that's not very good for Ben Rothwell. He's been in there with everyone. This freaking ESPN sucks. I don't know if you can hear that or not every time I click on that. And then you got Lins, who lost to Bozer by KO, and Arlovsky. So it's hard to pick him too because he's 0-2 in the UFC.
Before you pick too, so one of our questions that we got, I think it was actually from Aaron, was, is there anyone on this roster you think may get cut? And I actually think between these two guys, we might be looking at a loser leaves town fight.
I agree. I think because Lins hasn't won in the UFC. He's
35. Like,
he's
what?
35.
That's dead weight.
And Ben Rothwell is old too, and he's already lost one fight. But the fights that he's won, like out of his last 5, are not like huge wins. And and the heavyweight division, I think, is the number one. Like, I feel like out of all the cuts, the heavyweight division is going to be the most cut division, because there's just so much dead weight there. Like, there's so many fighters that just are sloppy and just not good. And the heavyweight division's kind of got a nice top 10 right now. And so I think that, and they got a lot of young prospects. So both of these guys are older. The young prospects are kind of coming into the heavyweight division. I'm going to go Rothwell. I'm actually going to go by KO. I think he'll knock out Lins. I like Rothwell throws a lot of volume. For a big guy, he throws a lot of volume. His gas tank is pretty good. And Rothwell is also pretty good on the ground. I mean, he doesn't really sub guys, but he's a tough guy to take down, and he's a tough guy to kind of sub. So I'm going to go Ben Rothwell here. Also, I'm kind of a Ben Rothwell fan. He's kind of an OG. So I'd like to see him win, but I agree with you. I think Lins gets cut. And even if this is like Rothwell's, I don't know how many fights he has on his contract, but even if like, let's say his contract runs out after this fight, I could see him being done in the UFC too. So that being the case, I kind of hope he gets it done anyway, but I'm going to go Big Ben Rothwell by KO.
Yeah, so the story, Philipe Lins, early on in his career, he fought in Bellator, and he had a bad run there. He was like 1 for 4, 1 for 3 in that. And then he moved to PFL, found success there. He was actually the PFL champ and then moved to the UFC after that. But yeah, 35 years old, moves into the UFC, only has 2 UFC fights, 0-2, like you said. Arlovsky and Tanner Boser, round 1 finish in that one. So not impressed by Philipe Lins, but also not impressed by Ben Rothwell in his last fight with Tybura. He did look real sloppy. Like you said, he does throw a lot of volume, but like they're not kind of like how Aljamain was throwing a lot of volume, but there's really not much behind it.
He looked good in like rounds 1.5. And then like he did throw a lot of volume and was landing, but he gassed himself out, and that's when Tybura took advantage.
Yeah, and that's, I think Tybura took it to the ground at that point too, so that was tough, but I don't think Philipe Lins is going to take this to the ground. I think he's more of a finisher.
He's 30 pounds lighter than
Philipe Lins is?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Rothwell weighs like 265, and they have Lins as 234 on here.
Dude, that reminds me, we got to reach out to Ben Rothwell. He said he would come on the pod. Remember that?
He did.
So Carrie, could you make a note of that, please? I think we need to reach out to Big Ben Rothwell soon.
All right.
But I feel like it's hard to go against Rothwell in this one, just given the experience that he has. I don't like it by TKO. I just wasn't too impressed in his last fight, but I'll go Rothwell decision.
I'm just a guy that picks KO, I feel like, for every heavyweight fight.
I mean,
just because they're heavyweights.
They're huge.
I'm going to keep this one short, sweet, to the point. Lins wins.
Oh,
Rothwell's
damn.
old.
They're both old.
But Rothwell looks like he's been through it.
It looks like our friend.
So I'm going Lins, but decision.
All right. Actually, I'll do the next one, and then Steve, you can do the main event if you want.
Sure.
All right. So we have Misha Cirkunov versus Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann coming in at the underdog. Misha Cirkunov coming in as the favorite. Ryan Spann, his last fight against Johnny Walker was good, and then it was awful. It was kind of started out good, and then the fight IQ was just terrible. He sat in a compromising position and just wore elbows when he could have easily backed away. I was high kind of on Ryan Spann for a little bit because I thought that, I liked the way that he used his striking, but that loss to Johnny Walker just kind of threw me right off the Spann train. Cirkunov is a physical ass dude, man. He is a scary individual. He's super strong. He's going to be smaller. He's going to be a little bit shorter with a lesser reach than Spann, but I don't see him having any issues. I really think he's going to take this fight to the ground. I think he's going to sub Spann. I think he's going to do it easily. I think Spann does have a couple subs to his record, but I really like Misha Cirkunov in this. I like the lines at -135. I'm going Cirkunov by submission in this one.
Yeah, this is an interesting fight. Yeah, dude, Ryan Spann against Johnny Walker. That was brutal to watch because Ryan Spann was on a 4-fight win streak going into that, nearly gets the finish. Then he shoots in for that takedown, and Johnny Walker just hits him with like the rabbit punches and somehow pulls out a victory. So Johnny Walker somehow gets a win there, keeps his ranking, which was complete BS. But yeah, anytime we can get a chance to shit on Johnny Walker, we got to take that. So yeah, bad look for Ryan Spann. Like you said, Misha Cirkunov. Couple of facts here. The last time one of his fights went to decision was 2011. Last 6 of his fights have all ended in round 1, and the last 5 wins that he has are all by submission. So this is like a kill or be killed type of fight. I think Spann is really, really in for it. Yeah, Cirkunov, he can be chinny, but I don't know if Ryan Spann's that dude right now. He has a lot of submission wins. That's like mainly what he does. I think he has 11 of what does he have? 11 of 18 wins by sub. I think Cirkunov wins this one. I also have him submission.
Yeah, I mean, Cirkunov could be chinny, but I don't know. I just Ryan Spann's last performance really threw me off. That's terrible fight IQ. Like that's probably the worst way to lose that I've seen in a long time. Like, as far as like, he could have easily backed off the cage and just instead he kept his head down. And I think Johnny Walker just gave him a bunch of elbows, and that was it. And the fight was over.
Also think Cirkunov, he's beaten Jimmy Crute. He beat Nikita Krylov, Iwan Kutelaba. Some of his losses were to Volkan Ozdemir, Glover. He actually did lose to Johnny Walker, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Walker's that guy that can throw some weird spinning shit, and a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. So yeah, I think I'm confident in Cirkunov in this one. I mean, I don't dislike Spann at plus 115. He certainly could throw something, knock Cirkunov out, but I don't know if I'm doing a parlay. I don't know if I'm throwing Spann in there, and I don't know if I'm really throwing Cirkunov in there because of the chin issues. But I do like Cirkunov in this
one. Spann was my man, but that's no longer my plan. I see him in. I see Cirkunov in the profile pick, and he just looks like an absolute tank. He looks twice the size of Spann, so I have to switch it up. I'm gonna say Misha is gonna make Spann Wisha. He's never gotten in the ring with him. And I think the obvious decision here is submission.
Yeah.
We got 3 Cirkunov submissions on that one. God damn.
Should we put some money on? Should we put money in a pot and just bet like $30
Cirkunov,
on?
we have to.
I got like 3/4 to throw in there.
Carrie's got 75 cents. We'll have to cover the rest.
All right.
All right, Steve, take us to the main event, which is a very interesting main event.
God, the main event here, man.
Both guys 18-3.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They're both 18-3. They actually have pretty similar things going on here. But yeah, so Leon Edwards, obviously number 3 ranked welterweight right now, and he's going in to take on Belal Muhammad, who stepped in on short notice to take this fight. It's a quick turnaround for Belal Muhammad, who did take some decent damage to his legs in his last fight, and Leon Edwards has not fought in like nearly 2 years. So you have a very fresh fighter versus a very unfresh fighter, I guess you could call it. So this one's really tough. Me and our guy Lewis, we broke this one down earlier a few weeks ago. I think Belal Muhammad, one of his biggest strengths is the fact that he is very aggressive. He can get in your face, and he can also wrestle. But I have been sleeping on Leon Edwards for a while now, and I did go back. I watched some tape on him, and I like Leon Edwards. I really think he kind of is the real deal there. He has an insane fight IQ. He's very selective, very methodical in the way that he fights. And he can get the finish too. He throws elbows well. He can get you in the clinch, does good work out of the clinch. And if it does go to the ground, that's also a kind of a strong point for him too. He's very good at grappling. So I'm interested to see if Belal takes him down, if Leon's able to kind of reverse that, get better position, maybe grapple a little bit. So 8-fight win streak for Leon Edwards. You have a 4-fight win streak for Belal Muhammad. This one's really tough. I mean, I think there's some good value that you can take in Belal Muhammad at the plus 200 range, but I really like Leon Edwards here. I'm probably not going to bet on it, minus 260, but I do like Leon here, and I'll go with 5 rounds. That's a long fight, but I will go decision on that, Leon.
Steve, you're killing me, bro. Yeah, listen, I love Belal Muhammad. He's kind of become one of my favorite guys to watch fight. And I hate saying this about him, but I don't know if Belal Muhammad ever makes it to like the belt. I can see him being a guy that sticks around the top 15. He's always going to be a tough fight. He's always and he's a tough dude. Like, he does not really get finished. But there's just something, I just feel like he's lacking something in his skill set. And I'm not sure what it is, but when I watch him fight, it's just like he's lacking something. Like, and against guys outside the top 15, and even some of the guys in the top 15, I think he can beat them. Leon Edwards is not one of those guys. I think Leon Edwards is just more well-rounded. I think he's going to be quicker. I think he's going to be stronger. I don't think he finishes Belal Muhammad because Belal Muhammad is such a dog. Like, he's as durable as they come. But I do think Leon Edwards gets it done. I think he gets it done by decision. I mean, there is always the possibility, the ring rust, that whole thing. But, I like Leon Edwards. And it sucks because I love Belal Muhammad too. And it's going to suck to watch him lose. But I just don't think he gets it done. Like I said, I think that he's a guy that is almost kind of like a gatekeeper. I know he's not old, but I feel like he's lacking something in his skill set to really make a run at that division. Like, he's kind of small. He's not like super strong or super big. He doesn't finish guys typically. He just throws a lot of volume. I think Leon Edwards is just going to have a bigger advantage in this one. I think he gets it done, but I think he wins by decision.
I think couple things worth noting here too. So look at Belal Muhammad. In his last loss, it was to Jeff Neal. His loss before that was to Vicente Luque. So those are two strikers, and you're going against someone like Leon Edwards, who is a very good striker. But then you look at Leon Edwards, two of his last losses were against Kamaru Usman. That was before he was champ. And then Claudio Silva. So those are two guys who can take it to the ground. And Belal Muhammad is a guy who can take it to the ground. So these guys definitely have strengths that are the other guys' weaknesses. I just think Leon Edwards is just going to be a better fighter. He's the number 3 guy. He's faced better competition. And I think Leon is going to get it done.
I don't think Belal's wrestling is that of Silva and Usman. I don't think he's not as strong. I think he's much smaller than Leon. So I think he would really have a tough time getting that fight to the ground. Now, look at Kamaru Usman versus Belal Muhammad. They are two totally. You wouldn't even think they're in the same weight class. Like they're much different. So yeah, I mean, I love Belal Muhammad. I don't think he gets it done. A huge jump in competition for him. Competition. So yeah, I'm sticking with Leon. Gary.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of forced my hand again for the 35th card in a row, so I gotta go Belal. And I'm a fan of halal, so I'll go with Belal. And I don't know how. Can I just?
What do you mean you don't know how?
God, I don't know. You talk bad about his ground game. You don't think you can knock him out. I guess I'd have to go decision, and then that'll have to be There's your scary carry. I think Steve loses again this week. There's a good chance.
There is.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, you got something out for me. This is crazy talk.
That's just where the cards fall.
You had Megan Anderson in your last one. Against Amanda freaking Nunez. What is it? We got to start wearing our wigs. I actually meant to say it at the beginning of this, so
yeah, I forget every single time.
It's making a comeback. I promise.
Maybe we'll just have to change the punishment.
That could be it. Then we just are stuck with the wigs. So I don't know.
I will say, I think if Belal gets it done, it would maybe be by decision. Maybe he just throws a shit ton of volume and wears on Leon. I'm not really sure, but I don't think it happened.
I don't think Leon's ever been finished. I think it was decision to Kamaru. I think it was decision to Silva in his third fight. Third loss was an illegal knee. Illegal knee there.
Whoa.
Sorry. What am I, 12 years old? Jesus.
Shout out to our buddy Zach Sharenko. Thanks for watching. And yeah, Carrie is he's great at what he does. Right, Carrie?
I do the best I can with what I got.
One of a kind.
All right, Steve, anything else before we shut her down?
No, I think we hit it right on the dot there. We did good.
We done did good. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this episode of Coffee and KOs. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are trying to grow that puppy as much as we can. We want to reach 100 subs by the end of, let's say the end of this month. Screw it. Let's set the task high. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us, thumbs up. Also, you can go check out our podcast version if you got a nice long car ride. You want to listen to something. You want to hear Steve's soothing voice get you through your car ride. Please check us out on all podcasting platforms. And then while you're at it and you're hyping us up and you're following us everywhere, make sure you also head over to Instagram and Twitter and follow us at Coffee and KOs 1. Guys, our page is always putting out tons of content. We are always putting out content. I mean, it seems like every day we're posting multiple times a day on Instagram. You can get little clips on Instagram and you can get the full version of everything on YouTube and on the podcasting platform. Every Wednesday we have interviews drop. This Wednesday, Jeff Molina, recent fight announcement. He originally broke it on our show. We had to wait to post it, so you'll be able to find out who that is on our show. So that'll be dropping on Wednesday. We also have another interview that we're doing tonight. We'll save that one for all of you. And that's going to do it. Thanks for all the support. And don't forget Sheath Underwear. Go to sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code Coffee and KOs. Get 20% off your entire purchase. Don't forget to sheath your dagger. Also subscribe to Fight Bananas YouTube channel. We are also on there every Saturday night for the recap shows. We appreciate the support, and we will see you all next time.